The world of hip-hop is full of drama, rivalries, and stories that often stay behind closed doors. Until now. Today, Camron is breaking his silence and revealing the dark truth behind one of the most talked about feuds in rap. History, Nas, and Dame Dash. What really went down between these two hip-hop giants? And why have fans been left in complete shock after hearing the untold story? This feud isn't just about music. It's about business, power, betrayal, and ego. Camron steps forward to give fans an insider's perspective, sharing details that have never been publicly discussed. From heated disagreements to behind-the-scenes deals gone wrong. This story exposes the real reasons why two of hip-hop's biggest names clashed. As you watch this video, you'll hear about the secret tensions, shocking confrontations, and surprising alliances that shaped the course of this feud. Camron's revelations paint a picture of the industry many fans don't see, where loyalty, money, and fame collide, often leading to explosive drama. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this feud went so deep, why it shocked the hip-hop community, and why Camron's insider account is making fans rethink everything they thought they knew. Get ready, because the truth behind Nas and Dame Dash's battle is darker, deeper, and more shocking than you could imagine. The hip-hop world is no stranger to drama, but few feuds have captured the public's imagination, like the tension between Nas and Dame Dash. On the surface, it might seem like just another clash of egos in the rap industry, but according to Camron, there's much more lurking behind the headlines, a story of betrayal, business conflicts, and personal grudges that fans have never fully understood. Camron, a key insider in the hip-hop scene, decided to speak out and reveal details that have been kept private for years. What he describes is a complex web of loyalty, ambition, and miscommunication, where even the smallest incident could ignite tensions that ripple across the industry. According to Camron, this feud wasn't just about music. It was about power and control over influential business ventures, and it involved some of the biggest names in the game. One of the key turning points in the feud, Camron explains, was a disagreement over management decisions and business partnerships. Dame Dash, co-founder of Rockefeller Records, is deeply involved in business moves that impacted both artists and the label. Nas, known for his lyrical genius and street credibility, often found himself at odds with these decisions, which led to heated discussions and behind-the-scenes tension. Camron describes moments where conversations that should have been private escalated, leading to long-lasting resentment between the two. But it wasn't just professional disagreements that fueled the fire. According to Camron, there were personal elements involved, misunderstandings, rival alliances, and perceived slights that added fuel to the conflict. Fans may be surprised to learn that some of the most dramatic moments of this feud happened off-stage, away from cameras and social media, where the true emotions and stakes were far higher than anyone realized. Camron also reveals that the feud had a ripple effect across the entire hip-hop community. Artists, producers, and label executives all felt the tension, often being forced to choose sides or navigate tricky alliances. What might have started as a disagreement between two individuals quickly became a symbol of broader conflicts within the industry, showing just how intertwined personal and professional relationships can be in hip-hop. One of the most shocking revelations from Camron's account is that some of the public narratives were completely misleading. What fans believed were petty arguments or standard competitive rivalry were actually layers of strategic moves, power plays, and calculated decisions by both Nas and Dame Dash. Ron emphasizes that understanding the full story requires looking beyond the headlines and seeing the human emotions, business strategies, and cultural dynamics that shape this feud. He also touches on the influence of legacy and reputation. Both Nas and Dame Dash are not just artists, they are icons whose names carry weight in the industry. Camron explains that part of the feud stemmed from a desire to protect legacies, assert dominance, and maintain influence. Every action, every word, and every public appearance became a reflection of power, making it nearly impossible to separate personal grievances from professional consequences. The feud also illustrates how loyalty and trust in the music industry can be fragile. Camron recounts moments where alliances were tested, trust was broken, and some relationships were permanently altered. These revelations highlight a side of hip-hop that fans rarely see, one where personal feelings, business interests, and public perception collide in unpredictable ways. What makes Camron's account especially compelling is that he witnessed many of these events firsthand. His perspective offers a rare insider view, showing how misunderstandings escalated and how miscommunication, combined with ego and ambition, led to a feud that would be remembered for years. He explains that while the public saw battles and diss tracks, the real story often involved quiet confrontations, secret meetings, and calculated maneuvers that ultimately shaped the narrative. Camron also warns fans not to take everything at face value. Social media posts, interviews, and public statements often only show one side of the story, while the underlying tensions, motivations, and strategic moves remain hidden. His revelations help paint a more complete picture, allowing fans to understand why the feud escalated, how it impacted careers, and why it continues to be a reference point in hip-hop discussions today. In conclusion, Camron's insight into the Nas and Dame Dash feud shows that there's always more than meets the eye in the world of hip-hop. This conflict wasn't just about music or fame. It was a complex mix of business, loyalty, personal grievances, and legacy, with consequences that echoed throughout the industry. Fans now have the chance to see the story through the eyes of someone who was there, revealing the depth, drama, and dynamics behind one of the most talked about feuds in rap history. We'll uncover even more explosive details, including secret confrontations, alliances, and moments that shocked the hip-hop world. You'll see why this feud was more than just a rivalry. It was a lesson in power, trust, and influence in the rap game. As we continue diving into the Nas and Dame Dash feud, it becomes clear that what fans saw in the media was only the surface. According to Camron, the real story is a web of secret meetings, covert confrontations, and behind-the-scenes drama that very few outsiders ever knew about. One of the most shocking revelations involves secret negotiations over music and business deals. Camron explains that behind the public disputes, Nas and Dame Dash often engaged in private discussions that were far more intense than anything fans could imagine. These meetings sometimes included heated arguments, threats, and strategic power plays, all in an effort to assert dominance and protect their respective interests. The intensity of these discussions shows just how high the stakes were. It wasn't just about albums or sales. It was about control, respect, and influence. In hip-hop.com single quotes Ron also sheds light on alliances that were formed and broken during the feud. Many artists and producers in the industry had to choose sides, often under pressure from both Nas and Dame Dash. Ron describes instances where longtime friends and collaborators suddenly found themselves in precarious positions, forced to navigate a delicate balance between loyalty and career survival. Some alliances were temporary, while others ended permanently, leaving lasting effects on relationships within the hip-hop community. Another layer of tension came from miscommunication and misinterpretation of actions. Camron points out that a lot of the conflict stemmed from simple misunderstandings, blown out of proportion due to ego and public scrutiny. For example, an innocent business decision or a private comment could be misconstrued as a slight or betrayal, escalating tensions rapidly. These moments highlight how fragile trust can be in the music industry, where reputation and perception are everything. Cam's single quotes Ron also exposes unexpected confrontations that rarely made it to the public eye. There were times when Nas and Dame Dash reportedly confronted each other in private settings, away from cameras and reporters. These encounters were tense, sometimes explosive, and often involved veiled threats and ultimatums. The secrecy surrounding these confrontations added fuel to the fire, as no one outside the inner circle knew what really happened, leaving fans to speculate based on rumors and limited information. He also delves into financial disagreements that were a major factor in the feud. Money, as always, was at the heart of the conflict. Camron reveals that disagreements over revenue splits, royalties, and business decisions caused friction that went beyond personal rivalry. These disputes were not just about individual gain, they were tied to power, control, and the ability to shape the future of hip-hop projects. Both Nas and Dame Dash were determined to protect their interests. And this often led to strategic maneuvers that kept everyone on edge. One of the most intriguing aspects, according to Camron, is how the media and public perception amplified the feud. Stories were leaked selectively, quotes were taken out of context, and social media posts were used as tools in the battle. Camron emphasizes that while fans thought they were witnessing open conflict, much of it was carefully staged or exaggerated to influence public opinion. This manipulation shows how image and perception are weapons in high-profile hip-hop rivalries. Camron also touches on loyalty tests and personal betrayals. Many insiders were put in positions where they had to decide whether to side with Nas or Dame Dash. Some chose wrong. Some tried to remain neutral, and a few were permanently alienated. These moments of tension revealed a human side of the feud. It wasn't just business. It was personal, emotional, and often painful for those caught in the crossfire. Furthermore, Camron discusses unexpected interventions from other artists. Sometimes mutual friends tried to mediate, offering advice or stepping in to prevent escalation. While some interventions succeeded temporarily, others failed, showing that even the most experienced mediators couldn't fully control the situation. These interventions reveal how interconnected the hip-hop community is, and how a single feud can impact dozens of careers and relationships. Another fascinating revelation involves hidden recordings and unreleased tracks. Camron claims that some private recordings captured moments of tension and conversations that fans never heard. These recordings reportedly show raw emotions, strategic threats, and personal grievances, giving a glimpse into the real mindset behind the feud. While most of these tracks remain unheard by the public, Camron's account offers context for why the feud escalated the way it did. In addition, he highlights how legacy and reputation played a crucial role. Both Nas and Dame Dash were not just protecting themselves, they were safeguarding their positions in hip-hop history. Every decision, confrontation, and public appearance was calculated to maintain influence, control, and respect within the industry. Camron stresses that this battle was as much about leaving a mark on hip-hop culture as it was about personal disputes. Finally, Camron explains that the feud had lasting consequences. Careers were impacted, relationships were fractured, and trust was permanently tested. While both Nas and Dame Dash continued to succeed individually, the feud left an indelible mark on hip-hop history, serving as a cautionary tale about the intersection of ego, ambition, and business. Fans now understand that what they saw publicly was just the tip of the iceberg, and the real drama happened behind closed doors in private meetings and in subtle power plays that only insiders like Camron can reveal. We'll uncover the ultimate fallout, shocking secrets, and lessons from this feud. You'll see why this battle wasn't just a rivalry, but a complex story of power, loyalty, and strategy in one of hip-hop's most turbulent eras. The truth behind Nas and Dame Dash is darker, more intricate, and far more dramatic than most fans ever imagined. As we reach the final chapter of this epic saga, the true impact of the Nas and Dame Dash feud comes into focus. What seemed like a simple rivalry on the surface was actually a complex interplay of ego, power, and strategy, with consequences that reverberated throughout the hip-hop world. According to Camron, the fallout from this feud changed the careers and personal relationships of everyone involved and revealed just how high the stakes were behind closed doors. One of the most shocking revelations involves how alliances shifted unexpectedly. Artists, producers, and label executives who once seemed loyal to one side were suddenly forced to take sides or navigate a treacherous middle ground. Camron describes how some alliances crumbled while others strengthened, but always with careful calculation. Loyalty became a currency in this feud, and missteps could result in permanent exclusion from the inner circle. The fallout also included public perception battles. Camron explains that both Nas and Dame Dash were acutely aware of how fans, media, and even other artists interpreted their moves. Carefully timed interviews, subtle social media posts, and indirect messages were all part of a strategic game of influence, designed to maintain credibility while subtly undermining the other party. Fans often misinterpreted these moves, fueling speculation and making the feud appear even more intense than it truly was. Camron further exposes secret confrontations that escalated tensions. Some of these meetings occurred in private locations, far from cameras and media coverage, where words were exchanged that could have ended careers or permanently damaged reputations. According to Camron, these moments were tense and, at times, explosive, highlighting the emotional intensity behind the public feud. Fans only saw a fraction of the conflict. The real drama happened behind closed doors. With high stakes and no safety nets, financial disputes also played a major role in the ultimate fallout. Camron reveals that disagreements over royalties, business deals, and investment decisions caused friction that could not easily be resolved. These disputes weren't just about money, they were about control, influence, and maintaining authority in a competitive industry. Every decision was weighed for both its financial impact and its effect on reputation and power dynamics. One of the most intriguing aspects is the long-term consequences on careers and collaborations. Camron highlights that some artists distanced themselves permanently from the feud, while others were caught in the crossfire, losing opportunities or credibility. This demonstrates how a single feud can reshape the entire ecosystem of the hip-hop community, influencing collaborations, album releases, and even the trajectory of emerging artists. Another major revelation involves misunderstandings that were never fully resolved. Camron explains that many of the conflicts could have been avoided if better communication had occurred. Yet, egos, public scrutiny, and pride prevented reconciliation, allowing the feud to fester. This is a reminder that in high-stakes industries like hip-hop, even small misunderstandings can escalate into major conflicts when fame, money, and legacy are involved. Camron also touches on the psychological toll. Both Nas and Dame Dash faced immense pressure to protect their reputations and maintain influence. Behind the bravado and public appearances, there were moments of tension, anxiety, and stress that shaped their decisions and interactions. This humanizes the feud, showing that even industry titans are not immune to the emotional weight of power struggles. One of the most compelling insights from Camron's account is how legacy and cultural impact played a role. Both Nas and Dame Dash are more than just artists. They are icons whose decisions carry weight in hip-hop history. Every move in this feud was calculated to protect reputation, assert dominance, and influence the narrative for future generations. The feud, therefore, was not just personal. It was a battle over historical legacy and cultural significance. The feud also serves as a lesson in strategic thinking and industry awareness. Camron emphasizes that the way Nas and Dame Dash maneuvered, both publicly and privately, reflects a deep understanding of perception, influence, and control. Their ability to leverage the media, allies, and even indirect messages shows how feuds in hip-hop are rarely simple disputes. They are complex, calculated, and far-reaching conflicts. Finally, Camron reflects on what fans can learn from this feud. Beyond the drama and shocking moments, it's a story about trust, loyalty, ego, and the high stakes of the music industry. It demonstrates that every decision, every conversation, and every action can have long-lasting consequences, and that understanding the full story often requires an insider's perspective. As this story concludes, it's clear that the Nas and Dame Dash feud was more than a battle between two individuals. It was a cultural event that shaped hip-hop, influenced careers, and revealed the inner workings of an industry where power, ambition, and reputation collide in unpredictable ways. Thanks to Camron's revelations, fans now have a clearer picture of the real drama, hidden confrontations, and behind-the-scenes strategy that defined this infamous rivalry. If you were shocked by the untold secrets of the NAS and Dame Dash feud, smash that like button and share this video with friends who love hip-hop drama. Don't forget to subscribe for more insider stories, shocking revelations, and behind-the-scenes looks at the world of rap legends. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an exclusive breakdown of the biggest stories in hip-hop. By the end of this 3-part series, it's obvious that feuds in hip-hop are never just about music. They're about power, legacy, loyalty, and influence. Camron's insider perspective gives fans a rare glimpse into the hidden world behind one of the most shocking rivalries in rap history.